It was a morning like any other, until it wasn't. I stepped outside, coffee in hand, ready to start my day, and froze. The spot where my car always sat was empty. For a moment, I thought I was mistaken. I checked the street, the garage, even the neighbor's driveway, but there was no sign of it. My heart pounded as 1,000 possibilities raced through my mind. Had it been stolen? Towed? Was this some kind of prank? I called out for my son, hoping he'd borrowed it without telling me. But he appeared at the door just as confused as I was. My wife joined us, her face pale with worry. "Did you leave the keys in it?" she asked. I shook my head, replaying the night before. I remembered locking the doors, setting the alarm, and glancing back at the car as I turned off the porch light. Everything had seemed normal. Panic set in as we called the police, filed a report, and tried to piece together what could have happened. The officer asked if anyone else had access to the keys. I hesitated, thinking of my daughter-in-law who'd been acting distant lately. She'd left early that morning, barely saying goodbye. My mind raced with questions I didn't want to ask. As the hours passed, the house filled with tension. My family argued over what to do next, each of us blaming ourselves or each other. The car wasn't just a vehicle, it was a piece of our history, the backdrop to family road trips, late-night talks, and quiet moments of pride. Its absence felt like a hole in our lives, a mystery that demanded answers. I stood in the driveway, staring at the empty space, and realized this was only the beginning. Whatever had happened to my car, it was about to unravel secrets I never imagined and turn our family's world upside down. The house felt smaller, tighter. As I called my son and daughter-in-law into the living room, my voice was sharper than I intended, but the shock of the missing car had left me raw. My son looked genuinely bewildered, but Anna, my daughter-in-law, stood with her arms folded, her expression unreadable. "Does anyone want to tell me where my car is?" I asked, trying to keep my anger in check. My son shook his head, glancing at Anna for answers. She shrugged, her eyes darting away. "Maybe it was stolen," she said, too quickly. "You should call the police." "We already did," I replied, watching her closely. "But the keys are missing, and you were the last one in the house this morning." My son's face flushed. "Are you accusing us?" he snapped. "Why would we take your car?" The argument escalated. My wife tried to calm us, but old wounds surfaced, resentments about money, trust, and the way Anna had never quite fit in. My son defended her, insisting she'd done nothing wrong, but Anna's evasive answers only deepened my suspicion. She wouldn't meet my eyes, and her voice grew colder with every question. "Why are you so sure it was stolen?" Pressed, "Why didn't you say goodbye before you left?" Anna's lips tightened. "I had an appointment. I didn't think it mattered." My son stepped between us, his voice rising. "This isn't fair. You're always looking for someone to blame." The tension in the room was electric, every word a spark. My daughter, who'd been listening from the hallway, burst in. "Why don't we just check the security cameras?" she suggested. Anna's face went pale, and for a moment the room was silent. We all felt it, the sense that something was being hidden, that the missing car was just the tip of a much larger secret. The family, already fragile, was now on the verge of breaking. I realized that whatever the truth was, it would change us forever. The car was gone, but the trust we'd lost in that moment felt even harder to recover. Unable to shake the feeling that something was being kept from me, I spent the next day searching for answers. I started with the obvious, checking the security camera footage. The grainy video showed Anna leaving early, keys in hand, and driving away in my car. My heart sank, but I needed more than suspicion. I needed proof. I went through the kitchen drawers, the mail pile, and finally Anna's desk in the guest room. That's where I found it. A folded piece of paper tucked beneath a stack of magazines. It was a bill of sale dated just 2 days before, with my car's make, model, and VIN number listed in black ink. My name was nowhere on the document. Instead, Anna's signature was scrawled at the bottom, next to a stranger's. My hands shook as I read the details. The sale price was far below the car's value, and the buyer's name meant nothing to me. I flipped the paper over and found a sticky note with a phone number and the words, "Call when ready." My stomach twisted. I checked Anna's phone, desperate for more. A string of messages confirmed my worst fears. She'd arranged the sale behind my back. texting the buyer about timing and keeping it quiet. One message made my blood run cold. He'll never know until it's too late. I confronted Anna with the evidence. She didn't deny it. Instead, she crossed her arms and stared at the floor. I needed the money, she said flatly. You wouldn't understand. My son looked at her in disbelief, then at me, torn between anger and confusion. The betrayal was like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just about a car, it was about trust, about the foundation of our family. I realized how fragile that foundation had become, how easily it could be shaken by secrets and lies. The car was gone, but what hurt most was knowing someone I loved had chosen deception over honesty. As I stood there, bill of sale in hand, I knew the truth was only beginning to surface. Whatever Anna's reasons, her actions had set off a chain reaction that would turn our lives upside down. The confrontation that followed was unlike anything our family had ever faced. Anna didn't flinch when I laid the bill of sale and the messages on the table. Instead, she straightened her shoulders and met my gaze with a cold, defiant calm. I did what I had to do, she said. You never respected me, never listened. I needed the money, and that car was just sitting there. It was mine to sell as much as yours. My son tried to intervene, but Anna cut him off. Don't defend me. I'm tired of pretending. She turned to the rest of the family, her voice rising. You all act like I'm the outsider, like I don't belong. Well, I know things you've all tried to keep hidden. If you push me, I'll tell everyone. I'll tell them about the money, about the deal you made with your brother, about what really happened the night your father got sick. The room went silent. My wife's face went pale, my daughter's eyes filled with tears. Old secrets, long buried, suddenly felt dangerously close to the surface. Anna's words were a threat, but also a plea, a desperate attempt to seize control in a family that had always kept her at arm's length. I tried to reason with her, to ask why she hadn't come to us for help. You could have told me, I said quietly. We could have figured something out. But Anna shook her head, her jaw set. You never would have listened. You never do. This was the only way I could make myself heard. The argument escalated, voices overlapping, accusations flying. My son stood torn between his wife and his family, unable to choose a side. Anna's demands grew more shocking. She wanted a share of the house, a promise that no one would question her decisions, and an apology for every slight she'd ever felt. By the end of the night, the family was fractured. Some blamed Anna, others blamed me, and everyone blamed the secrets that had festered for years. The car was gone, but the real loss was something deeper, a sense of trust, of unity, that now seemed almost impossible to recover. The days after Anna's ultimatum passed in a haze of tension and silence. Meals were eaten in separate rooms, and every conversation felt like it was teetering on the edge of another explosion. I tried to focus on work, on chores, on anything but the empty space in the driveway and the ache in my chest. The family was splintered, and I didn't know how to put us back together. Then, one rainy afternoon, as I was fixing a leaky faucet in the kitchen, I heard the crunch of tires on gravel. I glanced out the window and froze. A car I didn't recognize, a dark sedan, old but well kept, was pulling into the driveway, parking in the exact spot where my own car had always sat. My heart pounded as I wiped my hands and hurried to the front door. The rest of the family gathered behind me, drawn by the sound. We watched as the driver's door opened and a figure stepped out, umbrella in hand. For a moment I couldn't place him. He was older, thinner, with a beard and tired eyes, but there was something familiar in the way he moved. My breath caught as realization dawned. It was my brother. He looked at us, uncertainty flickering across his face, then managed a small hesitant smile. I hope I'm not interrupting, he said, his voice rough with nerves. I heard you might be missing a car. Shock rippled through the family. My mother gasped. My son stared in disbelief and Anna's face went white. My brother walked up the steps, holding out the keys. I bought it, he said simply. Didn't know it was yours until I saw the family photo in the glove compartment. Figured I should bring it back. No one spoke for a long moment. The rain drummed on the roof, and the air was thick with questions, relief and a strange fragile hope. My brother looked at me, apology and longing in his eyes. I didn't mean to disappear. I just needed time. But when I saw the car, I knew it was time to come home. His return was the last thing any of us expected. In that moment, the car was no longer just a symbol of betrayal, it was a bridge, bringing back the one person we'd all been missing, and giving us a chance to start again. We ushered my brother inside, still stunned by his sudden return. He shook off the rain, glancing around the living room as if seeing it for the first time in years. The family gathered in a tense circle, everyone waiting for answers. My brother set the car keys on the coffee table, then reached into his jacket and pulled out a worn envelope. "I didn't just come back for the car," he began, his voice steady but heavy with emotion. "I came back because I found something you all need to see." He handed me the envelope. Inside were copies of emails, bank statements, and a faded photograph of our father with a woman none of us recognized. He explained that after buying the car, he'd found a hidden compartment under the passenger seat. Inside was a bundle of documents, evidence of a secret bank account, transfers made over the years, and messages between Anna and someone named L.K. Emails revealed that Anna had been in contact with this person for months, discussing the sale of the car and, more shockingly, the possibility of selling other family assets. My brother's voice trembled as he continued. "I thought I was running from my own mistakes, but it turns out I was running from a lie. Anna wasn't just desperate for money, she was working with someone who wanted to break this family apart. And it wasn't just about the car. There's more. Dad's name is on some of these transfers. I think he was trying to protect us, but he never told anyone." The room erupted in disbelief and anger. Anna tried to defend herself, insisting she'd only done what she thought was best. But the evidence was overwhelming. My mother wept, my son demanded answers, and my father sat in stunned silence, the weight of years of secrets pressing down on him. My brother looked at each of us, his eyes full of regret and hope. "I know I left when things got hard. I know I should have come back sooner. But I couldn't let you keep living in the dark. We all deserve the truth, even if it hurts." His revelation shattered what little trust remained, but it also forced us to confront the reality we'd been avoiding. The betrayal ran deeper than any of us had realized, and the only way forward was to face it together. The stranger who drove the car home wasn't just my brother. He was the key to finally understanding the tangled web of our family's past. That night, the house felt like a pressure cooker. Every word, every glance charged with years of resentment and pain. We gathered in the living room, the box of evidence, and the car keys on the table between us. My brother sat quietly, his presence both a comfort and a reminder of all the time we'd lost. Anna stood by the window, arms folded, her face pale but defiant. It was my mother who broke the silence. "We can't go on like this," she said, her voice trembling. "If there are more secrets, now is the time to speak." The words hung in the air, daring anyone to answer. My father admitted he'd known about the secret account, but claimed he'd only used it to help the family when times were tough. My son confessed he'd suspected Anna was hiding something, but hadn't wanted to believe it. My sister apologized for the harsh things she'd said, her eyes shining with tears. Finally, Anna turned to face us. Her voice was raw, stripped of all pretense. "I never wanted to hurt anyone. I felt like an outsider from the start. I was drowning in debt, and when I found out about the account, I thought I could fix everything before anyone noticed. But the more I lied, the more trapped I felt. I was scared. Scared of losing your son, scared of being alone, scared of never being enough." She wiped her eyes, her anger gone. "I'm sorry. I should have asked for help. I should have trusted you, but I didn't know how." The confessions came in waves, anger, regret, and finally a fragile kind of forgiveness. We talked late into the night, voices sometimes raised, sometimes breaking. We spoke of the ways we'd failed each other, the pain we'd caused, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, we could start again. By the time the sun began to rise, the air felt lighter. The true cost of betrayal was clear, but so was the possibility of healing. We weren't the same family we'd been before, but for the first time in years, we were honest with each other and with ourselves. Just as the first hints of forgiveness began to settle in, my brother cleared his throat and reached into his jacket one last time. "There's something else," he said, his voice hesitant. "I didn't want to bring it up until I was sure, But you all deserve to know. He handed me a folded letter, its paper crisp and new. This was in the glove compartment when I bought the car. It's from the original buyer, the person Anna sold it to. I opened the letter, my hands trembling, and read aloud. The letter revealed that the buyer wasn't a stranger at all. He was the son of a man our father had wronged. Decades ago, a man whose business had collapsed. After a deal with our family went sour, the buyer had tracked down the car, not for its value but for what it represented, a chance to reclaim a piece of his family's lost history. He'd agreed to buy it only if Anna promised to deliver it herself, knowing she was desperate and vulnerable. But the twist didn't end there. The buyer, after learning the full story from Anna and seeing the pain it caused, decided to return the car to our family. No payment, no conditions. I realized revenge wouldn't heal anything, he wrote. I hope this helps you find peace. The room was silent as the truth sank in. The car sale, which had seemed like the ultimate betrayal, was actually the catalyst for a long overdue reckoning, not just for our family, but for another family too. Anna's desperation had set off a chain of events that forced everyone to confront old wounds, but it had also opened the door to unexpected forgiveness. My brother looked at me, a faint smile on his lips. Sometimes the things that break us are the things that bring us back together. We all sat quietly, processing the twist that had changed everything. Loyalties shifted, judgment softened, and for the first time, I saw the tangled web of our family's choices in a new light. The car, once a symbol of loss and betrayal, had become a bridge, connecting past and present pain and healing, and reminding us that every story has another side, waiting to be discovered. In the days that followed, the house felt different, quieter, but also lighter, as if a storm had finally passed. The car sat in the driveway, no longer a symbol of betrayal, but of everything we'd survived together. My brother stayed for a while, helping to repair old fences and sharing stories we'd never heard before. Anna, though still fragile, began to open up, joining family dinners and listening more than she spoke. We all carried scars from what had happened, but something had shifted. My father apologized to Anna for never making her feel truly welcome. My mother reached out to my brother, asking about the years he'd been gone. My son and I started working on the car together, turning a source of pain into a project that brought us closer. I realized that forgiveness wasn't a single moment, but a process, a choice we made every day to let go of anger and choose understanding instead. We talked openly about the secrets that had haunted us, the mistakes we'd made, and the ways we wanted to do better. The family that had once been divided by suspicion and silence was slowly forging new bonds, built on honesty and the hard-won trust that comes from facing the truth. Looking back, I saw how easy it was to let pride and fear keep us apart, and how powerful it was to finally let those walls fall. The car, the box, the confessions, and even the stranger's letter had all been part of a journey we never expected to take, but one that brought us to a place of hope. As I watched my family gather around the table, laughing and sharing stories, I felt a quiet gratitude. We couldn't change the past, but we could choose how to move forward, together, with open hearts and a new understanding of what it truly means to be a family. If this story made you pause, remember, sometimes the hardest truths are the ones that set us free. Facing betrayal takes courage, but it's the first step toward real healing and a stronger family. Don't let secrets or pride keep you from the people you love. Choose honesty, even when it hurts, and let forgiveness do its work. If you believe in the power of truth and the strength of family, subscribe, like, and share. Your support helps keep these stories alive and reminds us all that even the deepest wounds can lead to new beginnings. A week after the storm of revelations, Anna handed me a sealed envelope. I wrote something for everyone, she said quietly, her eyes downcast. That evening we gathered in the living room, the air still tinged with uncertainty. I opened the letter and read it aloud. Anna's words were raw and honest. She wrote about feeling like an outsider from the moment she joined the family, about the pressure to be perfect and the fear of never measuring up. She admitted to making terrible choices out of desperation and shame, and she didn't ask for forgiveness, only understanding. "Know I broke your trust," she wrote. "I know I hurt you, I wish I'd had the courage to ask for help instead of hiding behind lies. I hope you can see the person I am beneath my mistakes, a person who loves this family and wants to belong. As I finished reading, the room was silent. My mother wiped away tears. My brother nodded in quiet acceptance, and my father, for the first time, reached out and took Anna's hand. Her vulnerability opened a door we hadn't realized was closed. We talked late into the night, not just about what had happened, but about the ways we all struggled to fit in, to be seen, to be loved. Anna's letter didn't erase the past, but it gave us a new way forward, a chance to rebuild trust, not on perfection but on honesty and compassion. In her apology, we found the courage to forgive, and in forgiving, we found a deeper sense of family than we'd ever known before. As spring arrived, my daughter suggested we create a family time capsule, a way to mark the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Everyone contributed something meaningful. My brother added a photo of the car. Anna placed her apology letter inside. My son wrote a note about forgiveness, and my mother tucked in a recipe card in Dad's handwriting. We each wrote a letter to our future selves, sharing our hopes, fears, and promises for the years ahead. My father, who rarely spoke about feelings, wrote a simple line, "May we always choose truth, even when it's hard." I added a small stone from the driveway, a reminder of the day everything changed. On a bright Saturday, we gathered in the backyard and dug a hole beneath the old oak tree. We placed the capsule inside, covering it with earth and laughter and a few tears. My niece made us promise to open it together in 10 years, no matter where life took us. As we stood around the freshly turned soil, I felt a sense of peace. The time capsule wasn't just a box of memories, it was a symbol of hope, a promise that we would keep growing, keep forgiving, and keep coming back to each other. In that moment, I knew our family's story wasn't defined by betrayal or loss, but by the courage to begin again together.